The agents investigate the beating of a pair of door-to-door missionaries. The strange thing is they beat each other up.
What ensues is an often unfunny look into the lives of twins and genetic power.
This is not happening.
And Mike, when you say unfunny, do you mean the episode
I do.
is unfunny?
Nothing kills a mood like Kathy Griffin. And you know what? She is funny sometimes, but I just...
Wow, coming out hot.
And here's the thing, I don't hate her. She's too annoying to have an episode centered around her. And they do it.
I don't think she's the right fit.
They
for
do
this
it a couple
episode.
times in Seinfeld too, and I'm like, ugh. Like, she can be funny in short bursts, but I'm not taking anything away from her. I know she's a comic god, especially for females. I'm not shitting on that. She has a voice, and to have a 45-minute episode revolving around her is just a little much for me.
I mean, my take is that I don't think she's the right person for the role.
Very well.
I think that we're wanting to have her in the show. I think she was big at this time, so having her in the show is a bit of a coup. But I don't think she's right. Like, there are moments when she's sort of portraying her character I just don't believe. Right. Oh, wow, you just happened to come into this bar? I just came in here for lunch. What a coincidence. And I'm just thinking, this is such a caricature of a character.
Yeah.
That will come later in our discussion. Before we go there, maybe we want to talk a bit more about the basics behind the scenes. Fight Club, episode 20, season 7. A bit of a weird name, given that, I mean, the movie Fight Club just came out in 1997, and this episode has 0 in common with that movie.
Yeah, I think he was just capitalizing on the name, trying to be funny.
It's not like the name is front and center. It's not like I guess when you had TV Guide, you might see the title and you go, oh, Fight Club? Is it going to have the Chuck Palahniuk story? Is it going to have Brad Pitt?
Yes, Brad Pitt has stopped in for the X-Files, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah, opposite Kathy Griffin. Yeah.
Opposite Kathy Griffin. Oh my God, that would
what
be
a pairing.
Slightly better episode. But
it would be different.
Yeah, this one's written by Chris Carter, and to me, I'm just going to put this out there, and you can think about it, agree immediately or disagree, whatever. It feels like the bastardized version of Syzygy.
Yes. It is
okay,
in my
is
notes.
it? Okay.
I think
so. I'm not alone in
Syzygy
that.
At least 3 times in here.
I'm like, what is he trying to do? He's already written this episode, and it worked extremely well. Why is he trying to do this again?
Yes. It is a different version of Syzygy. I argue that the story is told better in Syzygy.
You think?
Just a little bit, but it certainly, story-wise, has more relation to Syzygy than it ever would to Fight Club. What I do know, reading up on the sort of prehistory, what I could find in this episode, that Carter was under a lot of pressure to write this script. He's also writing the pilot script for the Lone Gunman spinoff.
Oh, yeah.
So he's really trying to do too much at this point, and even Spotnitz comes out and suggests that there's a lot of chaos in this episode because he's really cracking hard to get something done, and it's not necessarily the best effort. But it's worth noting the last scene is filmed at the Grand Olympic Auditorium where the wrestling match is going to happen, and then it turns into the big brawl. That's a stadium full of people. And they used several hundred extras who were recruited from some periodicals, maybe for a product they didn't know that they were going to be a part of. And they used 200 cardboard cutouts to supplement the hundreds of extras and 16 trained stuntmen to give the stadium its final filled-out feel. And I'll give it to the episode. It's probably the best point in its favor, that is a legit cool production that they create in that moment. I don't know if I necessarily enjoy the episode as a whole, but for what they're trying to do, that worked really well. Did you have anything else you wanted to add before I begin?
I'm going to try not to shit on this episode.
Not like some people.
Like Emily has said in the chat, I'm an apologist for the X-Files, maybe when I shouldn't be, but it's there's just too much in here that really just grates on my nerves and has been done better way before this. And I'm not just talking on Syzygy.
Yeah.
So I have to kind of just step back and say, Chris, I mean, I know it's nearing the end, but come on. What were you thinking on this one?
Well, I think he was distracted as part of it. I think that
that's very possible.
They made something work. I don't think it's necessarily their best effort. I think it's worth focusing on. God, we just switch roles here? I'm about to be the apologist for this episode, and you can take a dump all over it. I think you have a license to be your crewless self. I want to point out some of the positive things, and one of them is the absurd production value. Like the effort that they went to make Betty Templeton different from Lulu Pfeiffer with the opposite cars, the opposite houses, the opposite wardrobe. Even the Kinkos are slightly different that they work at. Like all of that takes a lot of effort, and they nail it. Like it is a visual language that is perfect for this episode. It's unfortunate that it's not carried by the script or the actors, but otherwise, you can tell that they had an assignment and they delivered.
Yeah. And that's all you can ask at this point. I mean,
yeah,
it's just a shame it all kind of culminated in this. There's too many things that just kind of fall apart for me, but I will not shit on the episode. Andrew, if you would like to get started, let's get started.
Let's get started, but I give you license because you have a cold right now and you're a little cranky. So if you feel like taking a little doodle all over this app, you just let your freak flag fly. So,
all right.
Like we open up on a suburban city street in Kansas City, Kansas. Single-family homes passes by as we alight on two bicycle riders, both dressed in black slacks, white shirts, black ties, the hallmarks of the missionary. A delightful soundtrack accompanies their jaunt down the streets as they wend their way through the neighborhood until they eventually end up at a bungalow with a red convertible parked in the driveway. It has a personalized plate, Betty. The riders set the bikes on kickstands, take a copy of the Messenger magazine, and knock on the door. Inside the house, we see a red-headed woman answer the door, and the two give their spiel. She deftly sidesteps them, saying that she's just moving in, and closes the door in their faces. The two hit the streets with their bikes, again winding through the neighborhood streets until they arrive at another bungalow, nearly identical to the first. A blue convertible is parked in the driveway, same bumper stickers, but a different personalized plate, Lulu. The riders set their bikes on kickstands, take a copy of the Messenger magazine, and knock on the door. Inside the house, we see a red-headed woman answer the door. The two start to give their spiel again until it dawns on them. This woman could be the twin of the woman they were just talking to. You're going to be surprised when you meet her. The woman, Lulu, yells at them to go away, and then watches the men through the peephole. The two look at each other menacingly. They begin to shove each other. Then, without warning, they begin throwing punches and start a to-the-death brawl right on Lulu's front lawn. The police pull up in a cruiser, showing remarkable response time. They try to separate the two men and fail as the battle reaches a fever pitch, and we fade to credits. Boom.
Damn.
Hell of an episode open, don't you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not going to shit on it yet. I think it's, why are these two people fighting?
I agree. It's pretty solid. We haven't seen Kathy Griffin's face yet, so you really have nothing to complain about. Oh, that's not true. We do end up on her profile as she watches that happen. Yeah.
So far, so good.
Okay, excellent.
That's all
positively neutral for you, I think, right
positively neutral for that.
Excellent. All right, moving on. One day later, two agents, ostensibly Mulder and Scully, visit the house of Betty Templeton. We see Betty, and thus the agents from behind, as they ask her about the events of yesterday. The two missionaries are in the back of the FBI cruiser, looking like they've had the snot punched out of them. But Betty professes her ignorance. She just moved in yesterday. She doesn't know what happened. When Mulder, in quotation marks, notes that another woman matching Betty's description has moved in nearby, Betty looks very uncomfortable, asking to confirm that the other woman lives around here. And Mulder goes on, asking if Betty is a practitioner of the occult. But Betty doesn't, noting only that, everyone has a twin out there somewhere. We see finally that these agents are not, in fact, Mulder and Scully, but two agents that look almost exactly like them. They confirm that they already went over to the other house, but it's been abandoned. They're not even sure the other woman even exists. At which point, the other woman, Lulu, drives by in her blue convertible, trailed by a moving van, and the two women share a look of hatred. Suddenly, Agent Scully, in quotation marks, throws a punch at Agent Mulder, in quotation marks, and the two, similar to the two missionaries, get into a violent altercation that ends with fake Scully driving her cruiser away with fake Mulder hanging onto the driver's window to get at her. In the distance, we hear the car crash into something. Betty is visibly disturbed. So, it's kind of cool that we see stunt doubles for Mulder and Scully get their due in this.
They
in
get
this
their
scene.
time.
Yeah.
We last saw him.
Yeah, and he's been in here before. He was in Hunger.
Yeah.
And
I think, and I'm not positive, but I think he was the Mulder. At least it might have been both of them, but they rolled into the grave in the last episode because you can definitely tell they linger on that shot that it's a stunt person. For the longest time, I thought it was actually Mulder and Scully, like making a cameo in the movie. But I think
it's absolutely true. I think in Hollywood AD, that's Steve Kitziak and Arlene Pileggi. Yes, Arlene Pileggi is in fact.
You heard him right.
Yes, amazing. So they're in it, and they have a nice little fight scene that I don't know if they choreographed it themselves, but they get a chance to show their stuff again before the series ends. You know, they finally get a on-screen role. Of course, it's not their voice, so technically, I think they are probably silent on camera, which would suck for their acting credit and the check they probably didn't get in the mail. But anyway, it's good to see them there. It's a nice gag. Everyone's got a twin somewhere, Mike. That is the through line for the episode.
Yeah. I wonder where mine is. Probably somewhere better.
Somewhere warmer, perhaps.
Warmer, yes.
Well, back at the FBI HQ, we cut to a slideshow being put on by Mulder, who describes the events.
Now, you might think I'm going to suggest psychokinesis, PK. Someone or something controlling the agents with remote mind-bending power.
But it's not.
Both agents sustained critical injuries. Their stories eerily similar. As if they temporarily lost control of their minds, unable to alter their behavior. You may think that I'm going to say it's past lives unresolved, fate stalking the agents like an animal.
But you're not.
No, the interesting thing about these agents is that they had worked together for 7 years previously without any incident.
7 years?
Yeah, but they are not romantically involved, if that's what you're thinking.
Well, not even I would be so far-fetched.
You have any ideas, Scully? Any thoughts?
What I'm thinking, Mulder, is how familiar this seems. Playing Watson to your Sherlock, you dangling clues out in front of me one by one. It's a game, and as usual, you're holding something back from me. You're not telling me something about this case. Okay, so these agents were investigating something. Something much like what they themselves were almost killed by. Something they came into contact with. Third party. 2 third parties. Twins. Relatives. Doppelganger. Corporeal likeness that appears unbidden from the spirit world, the sight of which presages one's own death. Or a double conjured into the world by a technique called bilocation, which in psychological terms represents the person's secret desires and impulses, committing acts that the real person cannot commit himself or herself. Mulder, the slide, please. Yes!
Don't go thinking I'm going to start doing the autopsies.
That's the best part of the episode.
Yeah, I was just going to say. It's a fine moment for Scully, finally out-Muldering Mulder on his ability to bury the lead. Quite the triumph. It's almost like the show thinks that maybe we're nearing the end, and we need to have Scully have a win she's been deserving for 7 years. Yeah, this is a great scene. I think this and Hollywood AD is kind of the happiest I've seen Scully / Gillian Anderson in a long time in terms of the line she delivers. Like she's got this big ass
A lot of smiles. Yeah.
Yeah. It's great to see, but it's a shame that we've waited so long to get here.
Yes, she's very giddy. Not giddy, but very happy at certain points in season 7 that make it feel a little bit earned and a little strange, even alien, if you will.
Mm-hmm. It's nice to see, though. I just realized I want to bring up something else that is kind of up your alley.
What's
the
that?
Music. Do you want to touch on Mark Snow's choice of music for this episode, especially during the fight scenes?
I hate it. I can't stand it. I fucking hate it. It's so corny, and I get it,
Yeah.
but it's bad. It's just like one extra thing to. Usually, it's like, but the music's good, or
Yeah.
but there's some good dialogue.
Yeah.
The rest of the episode sucks. No. I can't even have music in this episode. There's
Yeah.
no diversion that makes me go, I might watch this episode just so I can have that little nugget. So that's one more thing that I hate about this is that it puts Mark Snow in a position to compose something really bad, even if it's on purpose.
I think that this might just be a case, and God rest him, this might just be a case where this is not some of his best work. Like maybe he didn't get the support he needed from Carter to find the notes or whatever, but maybe this is a case of him pulling something else out from the late 80s,
He's
early
got a
90s.
couple flops in season 7. I'm thinking also of the Great Malini, where the music there gets really campy, and
Right.
he uses some goofy instruments or synth instruments that just I don't like.
This reminds
in
me of
that episode.
Genderbender, like his recycling of music from the past to do the dance scenes. Like he's going to get his money's worth out of that one. And it feels similar here because anytime there's a fight, he drags this music out, and it really, I don't like it much either. I don't know. Maybe, listen, people, if you enjoyed this music, speak up in the comments so that we can be told and put in our place. But
Yes,
I don't think it really adds anything. That's
not his best performance.
Yes.
It's either his best performance because he purposely made it terrible, and it's so terrible we don't recognize it as intentional,
That could be.
or it's really just bad.
I think it's the latter, unfortunately.
Yeah, probably.
Well, we're going to come back to Kansas City as Lulu arrives at Coco's copy center to follow up on her application for a job. There is a help wanted sign on the window. The manager is not keen on her application. She moves around a lot. She's had 17 different jobs over the past 3 years. The copy business takes a motivated person, and he's not convinced by the variety of jobs she's had. Mongolian barbecue chef, high-rise window washer, wild animal trainer. But fate saves the day as the photocopiers begin to malfunction, printing out black copies, spitting out reams of paper, and suddenly the manager has just too much in his hands and he decides to hire Lulu on the spot, ripping the help wanted sign out of the window because, that's what you do when there's a crisis, just as we see Betty has pulled up outside, presumably to apply for the same job.
Here's another thing I hate.
Yeah, go, because I think we're going to say the same thing.
Now it affects inanimate objects.
Yeah, exactly. The wandering power scope is first it was makes people fight. Now it makes photocopiers.
And I'm not even opposed to the idea of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way they're executing it. And now we're 2 scenes in, and it's already doing shit that I don't think matches what has been set up. So
You know what, Mike? He should have just written the sequel to Syzygy. Make it Syzygier or something, because there are elements of that here. I think there could be more of a story to tell. Like those two girls grown up, and maybe this is the next chapter in their lives. But yeah, I am not a fan of what they are doing here with essentially whenever they're in the same environment, weird shit happens. There is an instability in space-time that seems to come over. I'll have more to say on this later, but just to say, to put my flag in the sand here to say that, I'm not a fan. And I think you're probably saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, later on, we see that Betty has applied for the same job at a different Coco's, where the manager there goes through the same incredulity regarding Betty's work life and history. With Betty's personal guarantee to stay in Kansas City, we cut from the scene with the impression that this will be enough for her to have the job. Now we cut to a dark, dingy apartment where a tall, stocky man with curly hair is filling a suitcase with stacks of money. A knock on his door. The FBI come to talk with the man, Bert Zupanek. Closing the suitcase, he answers the door, and Mulder and Scully ask him if he knows the whereabouts of Betty Templeton. Showing him her picture, Zupanek claims ignorance until Scully shows him another picture of him and Betty on a 4th of July float. Zupanek's confused, suggesting that he thinks that she lived on a house on Morton Bay in a pink house, but Scully corrects him by saying she lived in a blue house on Alderwood, which continues to confuse Zupanek. The agents leave, but not before hatching a plan. Scully will check on the house on Morton Bay Street, while Mulder finds out what Zupanek is hiding about Betty Templeton. Mulder thinks that Zupanek truly doesn't know Betty Templeton. And in a clever throwback to the Season 1 pilot episode, Scully remarks that that's why they put the I in FBI, and she leaves. No doubt you caught that throwback to Season 1.
Right. And only Chris Carter can deliver that.
It's his
That
episode.
was his episode as well, the pilot.
That's right. Well, soon Zupanek leaves his apartment, and Mulder hides to watch him go. Mulder then breaks into Zupanek's apartment because warrants? We don't need no stinking warrants. Later on, we're at Froggy's Bar, a dive bar by any other name. Zupanek arrives walking in with his big-ass suitcase and asks the bartender, Freddie, for a double. Freddie gives us the tightest exposition he thought Bert was in training. But Bert insists, so Freddie pours. Zupanek sees Betty Templeton at the bar walking over and sitting beside her. He clearly thinks he knows her. He orders her favorite drink, a 7-7, tells her she's in trouble and she shouldn't go home tonight. It quickly becomes clear that this isn't the Lulu he knows, but, in fact, the twin. Zupanek's enjoying this, and we hear the door open as somebody else arrives. The quick push-in on Betty's shocked face telling us all we need to know, Lulu has arrived. The two regard each other, and the glassware in the bar begins to shake and rattle, finally exploding, showering the patrons in shards of glass. Lulu looks on as Betty and Zupanek flee out the back, and we head to our first commercial. Right. So now we've got some more power shenanigans. Power has an effect on,
things around.
The surrounds, not just making photocopiers go crazy, but now exploding glassware. Mike, discuss. You like, dislike? I
mean, it's more of the same. Maybe I'm being too hard on it in post first viewing of this. I just don't think it goes with the story he's trying to tell. I don't think it matches the people being affected by these powers makes sense for me. The other stuff, inanimate objects breaking, smashing, just does not sit well with me for this. And I have no reason, I guess, to feel that way, but whatever, I do. I just don't agree with it. I think this should be relegated to humans because they make a big point, or Chris Carter makes a big point of when they pass each other is when this power comes out, and people in the beginning were
they're beating each other up,
beating the shit out of each other. So maybe if the windows had smashed in the house or something, or the car, one of them gets thrown down and the car flips over. I mean, obviously that's costly, but set it all up. If you're going to do it right the first time, and then I wouldn't have this problem with it, which I know no one cares about. But
no, I think the through line is the power is not consistent in terms of what happens or the effect.
Right.
Like if at the copy shop, all the patrons started getting into fights, and that's when the manager said, "Never mind, you're hired. We got to break this up." I'm fine with that. If at the bar, all the patrons started getting into fights, consistent, checks out. I like it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why is that not happening?
Exactly.
So, and I guess I'm going to give it a little bit of rope here because I'm just piecing this together
Let it
and
hang
trying
itself.
to make it work.
Okay.
My guess is that he's trying to say anyone with a deep connection, which is why he mentioned the agents working 7 years together. It's not just a joke because the show's been on for 7 years and they look like Mulder and Scully. These two people are essentially twins. The other people are essentially twins. The missionaries worked together, I assume, for a long time. They don't really go into that. But the agents investigating the case at the beginning had worked together for 7 years. Maybe they have to have some sort of bond in order to make that leap to fighting each other. I don't know, but that's just...
That would mean that every person in the auditorium at the wrestling match near the end is related or has a twin somewhere because they all get into fights. Then.
See, it all falls apart with that.
The odds, man. The odds are really high.
I also want to do a quick shout out to Randall Tex Cobb, who plays Bert Zupanik. Good stuff. I enjoy him. He's from Raising Arizona, and he is the douchebag in the beginning of Ace Ventura, which I fucking
That's
love.
Right? Yes, he's that guy. He's been a bad guy in a lot of.
Yeah, big burly dude.
Yep. All right. Well, we're back from commercial now to Mulder sitting with a stylish black guy, Argyle Saperstein. Scully arrives, meeting the new character, who fills us in on the characters in the plot.
So I take it from your posture, Mulder, you solved this case.
Not solved it, but I have narrowed down the search for our perpetrator with the kind help of Mr. Saperstein here.
Narrowed it down to where?
Right down there.
Our mystery woman is indeed involved with Mr. Bert Zupanik, the man we spoke to at his hotel, who will be fighting here 2 days hence with the mystery woman almost undoubtedly in attendance.
If it's the lady I'm thinking, she's not much to look at. But he says she brings him luck.
Bert Zupanik is a boxer?
A wrestler. Semi-pro.
So what, we wait around Kansas City for a couple of days and until we can talk to this woman?
Well, there's lots to do here, and the barbecue's second to none, right, Mr. Saperstein? Plus, Mr. Saperstein is going to show me some in-your-face smackdown moves so I can quit getting my ass kicked so often, right? Oh, and there's an art exhibit that traces the influence of Soviet art on the American pop culture, right? Unless, of course, you've already found Betty Templeton.
Well, finding Betty Templeton won't solve this case, Mulder. And not unless we find Lulu Pfeiffer.
Who's Lulu Pfeiffer?
Our doppelganger, who lived until yesterday in a pink house on Morton Bay Street. But she's not a manifestation, Mulder. She's real. And so is a path of destruction that she's left in her wake. Though there seems to be no connection of any kind between these two women, Betty Templeton and Lulu Pfeiffer have traveled city to city across 17 U.S. states, one alternately trailing the other for the past 12 years. And wherever they have been, mayhem has followed.
Damn.
It's not just car accidents and fistfights, Mulder. It's house fires and explosions and even riots.
And the lady knows her stuff.
Well, look at that. Scully has explained it for us. It's
all the answers.
It's canon now. Yeah.
Yep.
It's just chaos. Chaos erupts. It's not just fights. We just think it's fights because that's what we saw at the beginning. But now it's all good. Look at that.
Disagree.
Sure. Well, the agents leave and Saperstein makes a call on his cell phone. It connects to Zupanik in his room. Saperstein wants his money and reveals that the feds are on Zupanik's ass. We see that Zupanik and Betty are sharing a bed, but the call ends on a threat. No money, no fight. Betty's going to be late for work, so she rushes to get ready in the bathroom, but not before sharing her great affection for Bert Zupanik. There's a knock at the door, and we see Lulu Pfeiffer's there now. She's not at all impressed that she got stood up last night. Is he two-timing her? Where is the lady? Where is this bimbo? But he can explain, and then she goes on to find a hairpin in the bed, a hair scrunchie thing, whatever. I don't know. What would you call that device that you put in your hair to make it sit? You don't know? You're looking.
I'm looking at it. I would imagine it's a scrunchie. It could just be a rubber band. A lot of women do that.
I think it's a hair chopstick type thing. Anyway, this is
You keep talking. I'll look at it. I'll see if
clearly we're out of our depth here, boys and hair. Anyway, it's a fancy hair doodle thingy that he finds, but she's sorry. She just gets so jealous, and soon she's out the door because it's her hairpin. It's nothing to be upset about. She's late for work. We hear shouting voices through the apartment building as Betty emerges from the bathroom. Did Bert have a visitor? The arguing gets louder, and then gunshots ring out, bullets passing through Bert's ceiling. There's a way to raise the stakes, eh?
Yeah. It's that time, everyone. The Magus Media Production sales pitch. Please check out our homepage at magusmediaproductions.net so you can stay up to date on all of our shows. Check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Magus Media Productions, both of which have our Discord link on it, where you can join us for live shows as we record them for future release. At Magus Media Prods on X, our Patreon, patreon.com/Magus Media, where a $5 donation will help us keep the lights on and bringing you new content, and you get some stickers. Thank you for your consideration and support. So, my question here.
Yeah.
Do they have to see each other? Because
Yeah.
in the copy scene,
They don't.
they don't.
Yeah.
But here,
I don't think that they do have to. I've got my notes here at this point, recapping what we've seen so far. When Betty and Lulu are in each other's proximity, they stir up emotions of hatred in people and things nearby.
right?
That's my interpretation of it so far.
Okay, all right, yeah, pretty accurate.
And yet, Mike, worth noting at this point, Scully has summed up that this effort for them to escape each other, they can't seem to escape each other. They're each making the same kinds of decisions for the direction in which their lives progress. That seems to keep them nearer to each other. So, an interesting choice. You know, it keeps the plot there. Because if the Betty and Lulu confrontation happened and they just killed each other, that wouldn't be much of a plot. So it's worth noting that they are different than other, like the Zupanik twins we'll see at the end. They don't just want to come and kill each other. They seem to want to exist independently, but yet fate seems to keep them close to each other. Does that follow?
It's like they know about each other and they hate each other for whatever reason,
but yet won't confront each other.
Yeah, they try to stay away from each other, but forces in the universe keep them from staying too far apart.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We're going to cut back to Froggy's bar, which is still coming back to normal from the previous devastation. Freddy, the bartender, is restacking his pyramid of shot glasses. Nearby, Saperstein is having lunch as he waits for Bert Zupanik. In walks Betty, who Saperstein assumes is Lulu. She's surprised that Zupanik's coming in here. She came in for lunch. She goes to the bathroom to freshen up. Next, Zupanik arrives carrying his suitcase, and the two, he and Saperstein, share a few words before the bar begins to rumble. The rumbling stops as Lulu Pfeiffer arrives in her Coco's uniform. Saperstein's amazed. How did she get from the bathroom to the front door? Lulu comes over to talk to Zupanik, and Zupanik, not wanting Lulu to see Betty, tries to move her away with the promise of a picnic in the park outside. He barely gets her out the door, heading back to give the money to Saperstein when Betty emerges from the bathroom. But then Lulu re-enters and the bar again explodes into devastation. When the dust is settled, Bert is on the floor in front of the bar, his suitcase clutched in his unconscious hands. Saperstein prizes the suitcase from Bert's hands and leaves as people begin to pick themselves up.
Did you just say prizes?
Prizes? Yeah.
Prizes the suitcase from his hands.
How would you say that? Just prize? Prize the suitcase?
Prize. He would pry it from... He prize it from his hands.
Well, I am surprised.
I am surprised.
Yes.
No.
Well, later the police and our agents are on the scene, and Bert wakes up. He was struck by flying glass. Groggily, Zupanik looks around for his suitcase, but can't find it. He also can't find either Betty or Lulu, and that's when Scully goes full Mulder having clearly remembered her experience from Syzygy and shortcutting the plot. They need to find Betty and Lulu, or these kinds of explosive incidents are going to happen again. And I got a note here, Mike, that this would be an opportunity for us to throw to a recap of Syzygy and recount the similarities, but I don't think we need to do that.
I think everyone knows how good Syzygy was.
Yeah, I think we've made the point sufficiently up till now.
Yeah.
We cut to Mulder arriving at Betty's place of work, Coco's. Betty tells Mulder that it's Lulu's fault that these things are happening. Lulu follows her around and tries to ruin her life. But Betty doesn't want to leave Kansas City. Betty leaves the building, getting into her red convertible as Mulder calls Scully. Scully relates a similar situation. She's just spoken to Lulu at her Coco's, and Lulu blames Betty for the chaos that's being caused. Mulder sees Lulu driving towards him in her blue convertible and coming to a stop on the other side of the street from Betty. Mulder's now in ground zero, in the middle of the street between the two women. There's a rumbling, and a manhole cover explodes from the road, complete with a gout of steam. And just as suddenly, there's a sucking vacuum, and Mulder is drawn into the sewer, the manhole slamming shut. And the two women drive away. I'm going to dive a little into that scene, but before I do, your thoughts on that moment?
It's fine. The agents had to get drawn into it somehow, at some point. It's a little cartoony for me.
A little?
Okay, very cartoony.
Yeah.
I wish it did not happen. I wish maybe his phone exploded or something. But him sliding into a sewer and the lid closing up over him, it's just like, come on, what are we doing here? I get
memories of Howard Gordon, eh? Turn it up to 11. You know, what's the thing that's going to be amazing in this moment?
I just think it's... I am a firm believer. I'm going to say this here. Again, I've said it before. I think The X-Files is still very good at this point in the show. I firmly believe they have a great ratio when it comes to good to great episodes as opposed to shitty to okay.
Yeah.
A higher average than most shows, I would say. This just feels like Chris Carter's like, I'm going to just try to do something wacky because the show, it might be coming to an end. David's leaving.
But it is coming to an end.
And he's just like, I don't care what I do or what happens on the show anymore.
Yeah.
And I got a sense of that when I read the interview with Vince Gilligan when he wanted to do X-Cops. He had pitched that idea well before season 7.
Yeah.
And from what I recall of the quote is basically Chris Carter had turned him down several times.
Yeah, we can't.
And then
do
when
that.
season 7 came around, it's like, whatever, the show's over. And it pisses me off. Not because he doesn't deserve to be tired or focus something else. I understand that. He's been doing this, and I have no idea the stress he must be under having a show like this under his watch. But, and I don't think he purposely set out to make this episode terrible.
Oh,
I don't think anyone does that. But I think there was like this subconscious, I don't give a fuck anymore. And then when something like this happens, it just pisses me off because it's too goofy. It's too goofy. And that's hard to say because this show has done slapstick and it has some extremely funny episodes where goofy shit happens. But this, the manhole cover going up and then, of course, coming right back down perfectly after Mueller gets sucked down there. It's just dumb. Like, I don't like this. This is not cool. Something else could have happened here to make us go, oh, that's funny. Something happened. I don't know.
Well,
he gets hit by a bicyclist or something and something flips over the handlebars or something. I don't know. But
well, first of all, let me just say how much I'm enjoying watching you hate on this episode.
Enjoy it.
We rarely get to see this. It's obviously I don't like this either. It's just way too much, but it's I think exactly what you're saying. It's him saying we're done now and we can kind of do whatever we want. Like that, nobody's going to fire us because
They're on the home stretch. I mean, they've
We're
got
already on the
nothing to
home stretch.
lose.
I wonder if there is kind of a subtle, like, we know David Duchovny's leaving the show. So this is,
So let's do
if he
something
never came
zany.
out of the sewer again, that would be kind of poetic. Like, F you, Duchovny, for leaving the
Now,
show.
that would be funny.
And then
It
Scully's
wouldn't be
just
funny
like,
in the moment, but then you realize
Yeah.
the next 3 episodes he's not there.
where did my partner's missing? Skinner, we've got to find him. The last I heard, he was in between Betty and Lulu. Yeah, it's just a weird moment. But I would like to say, okay, so clear the moment the episode lost me right here. I've been on board, but then this Roadrunner Wile E. Coyote setup is just so weird. I do think I'm going to give the production a little credit here on how they pulled off the effect of Mulder being sucked into the sewer. I mean, say what you want about the placement of this scene.
Yeah.
It's a dumb moment, but it's very deftly handled.
Oh, absolutely.
Can you sort of reverse engineer how they did it? Like, if you think about it.
Well, definitely with the smoke coming up and the manhole cover, they obviously just reversed that shot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure what they did with this, but I would imagine they pulled him out of the manhole
Yeah.
and then played it in reverse.
I think they
to make
fudged the timing a little bit, so he kind of he climbs out and is pulled out backwards. And then, as you say, reverse that, so he's sucked in. The scene, and it's just a little tiny fragment of a scene, but it's when the manhole cover descends from the heavens and schloomps closed on the roadway and conceals all the steam within it. And then you also see Betty's car driving from right to left off the road. So that is pretty smart because obviously her car is reversed into position as the steam explodes and the manhole cover is pulled away. And then they just reverse that.
Definitely clever. And I'm looking at Mulder getting sucked in right as he comes into the manhole. You can see him kind of turn over on his stomach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, he's climbing out and then they just reverse him being pulled out of it.
Yeah.
So he looks like he's going in. So yeah, it's actually done very well. And I'm not taking anything away from production there.
So worth giving total credit to the director of the episode, which is Paul Shapiro, who has only directed some Millennium episodes from season 3. But this is his only kick at the can of the X-Files. And
you can actually see the reverse lights on the fucking car.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Exactly. So, yeah, I worth noting that they had a directive to do it, and they did it. Everybody was a good soldier, even if, later on the reviews are going to totally pan this episode. Yeah. So, coming on back, Scully pulls up to the street outside Coco's, the manhole ominously present, but Mulder is nowhere to be found. Inside the Coco's, the manager reveals that, Mulder was indeed here, but he left. Where'd he go? Couldn't say. He doesn't tempt Scully with the 2-for-1 copy discount, but she does take him up on some internet access, which leads her to the next scene in which she confronts the world's angriest man.
The sound of your voice is like a jackhammer on my eardrums!
Mr. Denfus, I'm Special Agent Dana Scully with the FBI.
What's so special about you?
It's an FBI title, sir.
I know it is. I'm not stupid!
Mr. Denfus, if you'll let me explain why I'm here, we might be able to get you to bed a little bit sooner.
Ah! What a relief!
Mr. Denfus, through a lot of matching up of documents that I have been able to compile on the internet, and by comparing time and space and circumstance, and by liberally applying the law of averages,
They could electrocute me quicker!
I believe that you may be the father of 2 daughters.
no father.
Using documents filed by a sperm bank in Sparta, Illinois, and by the mothers who may have been impregnated by your donation.
A Yankee Doodle into a plastic cup.
Well, be that as it may, sir, it is very likely that you are the biological father, and it is very important for their safety and for the safety of others that we get as much information as possible about your mother and your father and anything about your family tree that may be able to explain the reactions that are being caused by these two girls.
A big ugly dog lifted its leg on my family tree.
Make room for Daddy.
Shut up, you fat ox!
And just a little taste of that glorious musical spread that Mark Snow is using here.
Those, I don't know if you noticed, right at the end there, that, well, actually twice in that scene, that whoosh sound effect is the sound effect he will be using in the next episode for the Janaya.
Yeah. You know what? He's getting to do something new.
I'm okay with the sound effect occasionally.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's not what I'm talking about when I say he drops the ball on this episode. Definitely not.
What? But the choice to use stings in this moment too, like, sure.
I mean, it's over the top. It's definitely, we get it. We get it. He's angry. And we get that he's yelling about everything and mundane things, and he can't just answer a question. He's got to be freaking out about it.
But to augment Scully's sort of shock reaction, you know, like this assault she's undergoing with a sting to sort of really let you know that this is a strong reaction. Okay. Again, it's a choice. Read back to Chris Carter being super busy doing the Lone Gunman scripts, and maybe this is Mark Snow thinking this is my last kick of the can here, so why don't I try something different?
That's
discuss.
Fine.
Yeah. So
I'm not going to go.
Don't discuss as it happens. Yeah. Later on, Betty has returned to Zupanic's apartment. Zupanik does not initially open his door, but eventually he relents. He's not answering his phone. He's got big trouble. He's got one shot left, baby, to make the big time, but I lost my financing. He'll lose his chance if he doesn't get the money, and Betty, savior that she is, suggests that she can help him, and she leaves. And later on, another knock at his door. Of course, it's Lulu, and he begins the exact same conversation with her. Meanwhile, Betty breaks into her Coco's and hatches her scheme for some good old-fashioned counterfeiting, using the color copier to make stacks of fake $100 bills. And to top it all off, Mulder finally emerges from the sewer, pushing out a manhole cover and emerging outside the Coco's.
I'm sorry, am I wrong in saying the lid is open on that thing? It's not going to work very well on the copier. Am I wrong on that? Would it still work? I mean, it would still work, but I don't know if the lid is also keeping out unnecessary light. Not that there's a lot of light here, but maybe I'm just... I mean, I guess it would still work. I don't know. Maybe the lid's just a thing, but...
You know what, Mike? I appreciate your attention to detail at really critiquing the episode.
You're welcome.
You're really choosing every moment to show...
This is what happens when I get a fucking cold. Forced to sit through this episode.
Maybe it's a well-known counterfeiting technique that you have to let a little light in, or else the copy is too much contrast, too dark.
Yes. They did their research on that for this episode.
Well, Scully, still at the penitentiary, receives a call from Mulder. Scully fills Mulder in on the plot. Betty and Lulu are non-fraternal twins sired by Bob Danfoos. Mulder has figured out the Zupanik answer. Both Betty and Lulu are in love with Bert Zupanik, and if they're angry now, it's going to be bad if they figure that out. So somebody's got to get to the fight to stop them from finding each other there. Scully, wandering in a penitentiary, sure, okay, has arrived at another part of the cell block, startled when an inmate gives her a casual, well, hi. And she turns to see it's Bert Zupanik's twin. And we fade to our third commercial. And I'll give it to the episode. It's a twist I didn't see coming. And
that's good.
You know what? It works.
Yeah,
it's not great, but it works to be like, here's our next reveal that's going to bring us up to our next thing.
Right.
For what it's trying to do, I would say it kind of works.
Absolutely.
Well, we come back to the wrestling ring. We're in our final stretch here, Mike. Bert Zupanek looks in from the crowd as another match is underway. He is forlorn. He doesn't have his money. Argyle Saperstein, otherwise known as the scum-sucking son of a bitch, protests that Zupanek better have his money, or else he'll cancel Zupanek's fight. Zupanek insists it's coming, and indeed, Betty arrives with her bag of counterfeit bills, fresh off the presses. Bert's elated. Saperstein takes the money as Bert and Zupanek embrace. Aww. The match begins as Zupanek's opponents mobs for the crowd. Saperstein announces Bert the Titanic Zupanek, who enters the ring to a super supportive crowd, including Betty. The match begins and we have some classic 90s wrestling. Soon, Mulder arrives, backlit in silhouette, rushing to get Betty before it's too late. But as Lulu walks in behind Mulder, we see it is too late. They trade barbs and start advancing on each other. Mulder quickly scoops up Betty, running away in order to keep them separated. But Betty latches onto the ring, refusing to be pulled away, and she shouts some support to Bert in the ring. Bert suddenly realizes that both Betty and Lulu are here. Lulu revealing, well, she's brought the money too, which Saperstein takes. We then see that the crowd starts to get really riled up, punching each other, and quickly there's a huge brawl, complete with Mark Snow's crazy soundtrack. It looks like it's all going to end in black eyes and broken bones when Scully arrives with Bert Zupanek's twin. Betty and Lulu are shocked and amazed. Even Zupanek in the ring is amazed at the sight of his own twin, until the sight turns into rage, and the two Zupaneks rush to fight each other. The audience resumes its brawl as the camera pulls back, the fight in full force as we fade to black. We come back with Scully narrating our epilogue as a slide projector gives us the visuals of Bert Zupanek and his twin, as well as Betty and Lulu. For some reason, Argyle Saperstein is there for this debriefing. Apparently, Scully has calculated somehow there was a 27 million to 1 chance of the two ever meeting, but they did. Saperstein asks what it all means. And true to form for an episode which has had a hard time pulling all the pieces together, Scully doesn't have a great answer. But then neither Scully nor the episode really needs one when they carefully misdirect us with a sight gag of both her and Mulder looking like they got the shit beaten out of them. End of episode.
You want to talk about an episode being written backwards? I mean, that's probably the scene he's like, oh my God, what if Mulder and Scully looked like they were in a prize fight? Yeah.
But it's an opportunity to use some really gross makeup on them. Some scar makeup. And Mulder's got his jaw wired shut. It's kind of
that's fun.
Kind of great.
It's good. I mean,
lay down, my mic. What are your final thoughts?
I don't have many. I've made it clear how I feel about this episode. I'm not happy with it. It's just too much, and I don't think it serves the series well. I feel like Chris Carter kind of gave up or just didn't care enough at this point. I may be very wrong on that, and I'm very happy to be wrong, but I just say that's how it comes off to me. I feel like he's too flippant with what's going on in this episode. It's more like, what can we do? And let's not make it fun. He's trying to be funny, but it's just too much, too hard. He's pushing too hard on shit that's been done a lot better well before this episode.
Is it possible that it's a casting thing? Like if it was a different actor? Because I know you've got a problem with Kathleen Griffin here.
Again, I'm not shitting on her. I think she did the best with what she's got. And honestly, I feel bad for Tex Cobb, Randall, because I feel like he deserves. He's a good actor. He's funny. He's always a goofy oaf or ogre in whatever he's in. And I feel like this was a chance for him to be something more than that, to get a leading role on the X-Files, even for one episode. And it turns out to be one of the worst episodes. And I feel bad for him because I enjoy seeing him whenever he's in something. You know, most of the time it's funny stuff, but this could have been something good for him. And I don't think it was, but that's just me being, picky. I feel bad for the actor in that regard, but everyone else, I think they did the best with what they had. I can't imagine what Dan Fuse, that actor, I can't imagine how he approached that script when he got it, when it landed on his desk. But
Well, apparently, they did rehearsal for that scene, and the director wanted him to shout through all the rehearsal, and he basically said, "No, I can't, because if you want me doing that shout for all my rehearsing, I'm going to have a headache by the time it comes to the actual takes." So he very wisely didn't
talk it. Yeah,
yeah.
I just think it's too much. We talked about Mulder getting sucked into the manhole. That was just god awful. Didn't appreciate that.
Yeah,
and it just kind of stamped the 7th season with it's the 7th season. We're pretty much done here. We're gonna just do something goofy.
Yeah,
and it just unlike Bad Blood and unlike fucking season 2. What the Darren Morgan, whatever.
Yeah. Name an episode. Yeah.
Humbug. You can do comedy in intelligent ways. And I think Chris Carter has moments where he's done comedy in intelligent ways. But this feels like, let's do something to get the season over with. David's leaving, and let's just do whatever we want. That's how this episode feels. And again, it's Syzygy's bastardized cousin of an episode. And I just don't like it.
Yeah, and we have, of course, don't have the same resolution, the payoff, the pathos at the end of Syzygy when the clock strikes 12 and the crisis passes, and there is that moment with the two kids, the girls holding each other, was just in shock of what they've just been through, is a really pivotal moment where the episode just sort of crashes to a halt, and like many episodes where they don't know how to get out of it, they choose a monologue, to try and make sense of the events which have just happened.
A monologue and a joke.
Yeah. For me, the final thoughts are: this is not a great episode. I don't think that's a big shocker. The standout bit for me, though, is the production design. It's a really great effort to emphasize the similarity between Betty and Lulu, but to give them their own color palette and visual language that distinguishes them. And the red and the blue is kind of a cool choice. It's like an analogy to two boxers in a ring wearing different trunks. I kind of dig that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I don't understand how the episode's being so coy at keeping Betty and Lulu apart. Like, they have these 3 encounters where they are looking at each other and then they turn away. They literally just walk away from each other. And that's... I thought it would be cool if they delved into that a little bit as to why they don't rush to kill each other, like why they're different from the other twins in this case. That's just left unsaid. Fine. I don't think there's a lot of runway to do that. The episode doesn't really work if the first time they meet each other, they get into a fight that ends with one or both of them dead. So that's, the way it's got to be, I suppose. If anything, that's the missing link for the episode, the thing that would make this episode better, or at least for me, remotely understandable.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Yeah. It's a shame, but it had to happen, I guess.
Yep.
I guess it didn't have to happen, but it happened. And we talk about intelligent humor and the next episode, Je suis, or whatever it's called. I don't know the French pronunciation, but...
You pretty much nailed it.
It's a good episode, and it's funny. It's not over the top. So I look forward to that because it's a much, much better experience, if not perfect. So,
Well, that'll be next week. You'll get to enjoy that one. But for now, we're going to close up Fight Club. We won't ever talk about Fight Club again. That'll be the movie callback right there. The first rule of this episode, you don't talk about it.
Maybe that's the joke. Oh my God, maybe that's what he was doing.
No, I don't.
First rule is you don't talk about Fight Club. And I'm going to make an episode so piss poor that no one wants to talk about it. Oh my God. Chris Carter is a genius.
It's funny. There are probably a bunch of other writers that are out there that could have done an episode. Like, they have so many celebs having done. Stephen King's written an episode. They've had William Gibson do 2 of them. Like, they could have found another homeboy that wanted to have a writing credit for the X-Files and slide that into the end of season 7. Do you think that he was desperate to get another chance to pen an episode before they turned the lights off? I mean,
he's got the season finale, Requiem. I don't know why he would feel that urgency, but maybe.
I'm going to say that it was probably a tumultuous time as they got towards the end of season 7, and maybe a lot of things they wanted didn't come to fruition, and he got painted into a corner. He's got to write his own episode now because stuff just hasn't worked, and this is what they came up with, and sometimes you just don't get a win.
Yep. Well,
all right. That's it.
That's the episode.
Yeah. Mike, I'm going to leave it to you to give us our final word as we sing our way out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all have a doppelganger out there somewhere. And dear God, if you see yours, run and don't look back. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at tinhxfilespod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.